Paris. For the next 2 days, we'll be exploring both parks here at Disneyland Paris, riding all of the best rides, trying some sweet treats,
and just generally exploring this amazing park.
Guys, the time has finally come. We're going to Disneyland Paris. Woo! Backwards walking. Now, because we're staying at the Disney Hotel, which we'll talk about a little bit later, we got early access, so we're here. It's about 8:15 in the morning. And we're heading into the park.
1 hour early access. Okay, guys, we made it in, and now we're about to see the castle for the first time.
I'm so happy to be here, but there's that like tiny bit of sadness because I'm never going to experience this castle for the first time ever again. Do you get that? But mostly happy. Look at that castle! That is top tier. Okay, we'll admire the castle more later, but first now we're going to line up for a ride.
There is nothing like a Disney morning rope drop and the rush to get to that first ride. I love it. Makes me feel alive. Now, we don't know a whole lot about Disneyland Paris, so your first ride at any Disney park is always critical. We're thinking Hyperspace Mountain is a pretty good bet to be one of the most popular rides here in this park, so that's where we're heading first.
Making Space Mountain themed to Star Wars just feels right. What better theme, honestly?
Well, we're well and truly awake now. Oh my god. That was a little crazy. Hurt my head a little bit, but not as bad as Rock and Roller Coaster in Disney World. That really hurts my head. Hurt my head in intervals, I have to say. Now, there's a few spoilers here, so if you don't want spoilers about Hyperspace Mountain in Disneyland Paris, skip over this, but I love the bits that make this originally Space Mountain, but now Hyperspace Mountain different to all the other Space Mountains. I absolutely love the launch. I think that is just super good, especially for something that's like a space themed ride. I love the Star Wars theme music, and I love the fact that they squeezed a couple of loops in there because that is unlike any other Space Mountain and was pretty epic. And now, after Hyperspace Mountain, it's time to head over to the opposite side of the park, go to Frontierland and hit up Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. Hopefully a little less bumpy than Hyperspace Mountain, but I've heard that it's particularly good here at Disneyland Paris.
We're going on the wildest ride in Paris. Wildest Thunder Mountain in all of Disney.
Guys, that is the best Thunder Mountain I've ever been on. Up until this point, I always thought they were all very similar, but that was like an actual thrill ride. I know it's always kind of classified in that thrill category, but I've always found it a bit more of a family-friendly coaster. But that went really fast, and in the dark, lots of drops. I'm a bit lost for words. There were some drops.
A few drops. What I would describe it as is a little bit more tame version of Everest that you would find in Animal Kingdom. But of course, like Thunder Mountain.
Yes, and it was really long as well, so if you do have to wait for it, don't be too put off because it is a very long ride. And one more time for the video. Up on Phantom Manor. That's a great ride. It is essentially the Haunted Mansion here at Disneyland Paris, and it's pretty good. I have to say there are some bits which felt a lot more detailed than the one in, say, Disney World. Kind of bigger sets and stuff like that, so that was cool. It's always a classic, always seems to be quite popular, so I'm glad we did it.
After maybe one too many rides this morning, I'm feeling a little bit motion sick, so we're going to try and pull the sword from the stone.
It's not about strength, it's about what's inside, and I've got it.
Famous last words. Stop coming up! So apparently neither Stace or I are worthy to pull the sword from the stone. You know what I think would be a really cool thing to happen at Avengers Campus would be a similar kind of experience, but with Thor's hammer. I always pronounce this wrong, Mjolnir, but get people to go up, try to lift the hammer, and if you're worthy, it wiggles or comes up a bit. I think that would be so cool. Now I hear there's something really unique underneath the castle here at Disneyland Paris. Let's go check it out. Now getting close to 11, which is when the first show is on, so we're going to find a spot to sit back and relax and wait for the show.
It's time to dream and shine brighter.
Okay guys, we just finished the Dream and Shine Brighter parade, which is the parade here for the 30th anniversary. We've just snuck in because the 30th does finish at the end of this month, being September, but that was absolutely incredible. I love how they get up on the stages and it gives you the opportunity to really see all of them up close, and they do rotate between stages so you get a chance to see all the different characters, and the song was a real banger. We absolutely loved it. But now we're on our way to ride Indiana Jones, which is a new one for us.
The last time Stace and I went on an Indiana Jones themed ride was in LA at Disneyland last year. If you haven't seen those videos, we'll link them up there. That was a great time. This one's a little bit different in that it's an outdoor roller coaster, whereas the one in LA and in Japan, I believe, are indoor ones.
Okay, we finished up Indiana Jones. It was pretty good actually. I'd heard it was very, very rough, but found it way less rough than Hyperspace Mountain. I think it's because when you can see when the turns and drops are going to come, you can brace yourself a bit better. It's pretty cool. There's very minimal theming once you're on the ride. It's just kind of an outdoor roller coaster, but a lot of fun, a nice little thrill ride here in Disneyland.
We have now come into Videopolis for some quick service food, just to refuel so we can go on more rides. Guys, I'm pleasantly surprised by how much Lion King merch there is here at Disneyland Paris. We've been to Tokyo Disneyland, we've been to Walt Disney World, and there's never heaps of Lion King merch, and Lion King is one of the best movies of all time in my opinion. They've got Lion King ears, they've got a Spirit jersey, t-shirts, keychains, you name it, it's here. I love it. It is now pouring outside, so we've wandered into a few shops and have stumbled across this arcade type area. It is so cool. We've got entrances to shops and then you can exit out onto Main Street as well. Oh, look at that. What a cool spot. And of course you can't come to Disneyland Paris without getting yourself a Disney themed macaroon. I've gone with the salted butter caramel flavour. It's interesting. The top biscuit is much harder than the other one. It's almost like the top half of it's not a macaroon. It's good though. The rain is finally starting to ease off, so we've come outside to admire some of these statues of different Disney characters that we believe are out for the 30th anniversary. As Stace mentioned, the 30th anniversary is about to finish in about a month, so we've come just in time. And we're just having a look at each of these statues. They all move and they're very unique. They're almost ribbon-like, modern, arty, very creative. I'm going to jump in here in this video and say if you're enjoying it, give it a like and make sure you subscribe because we're traveling the world for 12 months and let me just say, there's a lot more Disney to come, so stick around. Stace is going to be mad at me for giving that away, so you got to give it a like so that it was worth it. She's cranky with me. Guys, there's even a little Christmas shop inside the castle. If you guys know me, Christmas is my favourite time of the year. I'm loving this. It's so cute. So we've seen that underneath the castle there is a dragon. Not only can you go underneath, but you can also come up and you come into this area where there's mosaics, and I think it's telling the story of Sleeping Beauty. Pretty cool. You can also go out, kind of onto the balcony area of the castle, as though you are a princess yourself, which we know we are. I love being a princess.
As you can see behind me, there is a little bit of work going on in the parks at the moment. I'm not sure exactly what it is. I know they are building a Frozen themed land here. Not sure if that's sitting right here in Fantasyland or whether that is somewhere else, but definitely a few bits and pieces going on here. Okay guys, we've wandered over for the first time today to Fantasyland, which is the very kind of classic Disney area of the park. Obviously, kind of princess vibe, a lot of the classic Disney movies. And so it's time for us to go on some of those classic Disney rides like this next one.
You can't come to Disneyland without doing It's a Small World. It's a small world. It's a small world. Alright, it is time for another classic Disneyland ride. Pirates of the Caribbean. And something that we haven't seen in any of the US Disneylands is this Alice in Wonderland themed maze. So we're gonna go in now and let's see if we can find our way back out or if we get lost, which is the more likely outcome of the situation. Now, believe it or not, the last time I was in a maze was the day that I proposed to Stace. If you haven't seen that video, we'll put the link up there. Did she say yes? Suspense. We found a little door. What is that walk? Guys, we made it to the Cheshire Cat, but we're not sure if this is like the prize. Like, is this what we're trying to get to, or should we keep going?
Keep going. Keep going.
Stace, you've got to do your best Cheshire Cat walk.
I'm really sorry you had to witness that. And we have made it to the castle at the end of the maze. From up here you can see just how big the maze is. You can also see some construction going on.
Wow.
And of course it's not a trip to Disneyland without a ride on the Teacups. We are in our teapot. Stace, no, not a lot of spinning. I feel sick already, okay? Okay. Stop. I was serious, stop spinning it. Well, we were engaged before that ride. We are no longer engaged after that ride. It's off. You're going down, Stacey. Well guys, you're probably not surprised, but I did win. Did nice Stace. She's not taking it well.
Guys, I have the worst luck on Buzz Astro blasters. Every single time I've ever gone on the ride, my blaster isn't working properly. So I always get a really bad score, but it's not my fault. I just really hate that ride.
Guys, it looks like the rain is not letting up, so we're going to head back to the hotel, give you a bit of a sneak peek of the hotel. But to see more of that, you're going to have to wait for the next video where we do a bit of a tour. We'll check in there. Now we are back in the park. We're going to ride Space Mountain again.
Okay guys, verdict is in. Thunder Mountain and Space Mountain here in Disneyland Paris are the best ones I've been on. I've been to all Disney parks except for Shanghai, so pretty high bar.
We got a professional in here.
So definitely the best. I'd say the downside to Disneyland Paris is what we've noticed, I mean particularly compared to the US parks, a bit of a lack of food options. A lack of food options, and the ones they have are obviously expensive because it's theme park food. But there hasn't really been anything that we've been dying to try, which compared to Disney World where that's like half the fun for us is trying all the different foods. The other downside is smoking/vaping rules do not seem to be enforced. There are people vaping in the lines, smoking. I saw someone smoking under the Cinderella Castle. So that's a bit disappointing because it makes the park feel a bit dirty, you know. At the end of the day, it is a park that was originally designed for kids and families, so, but on the ride, from a ride perspective, their rides seem to be better than the other ones.
We are now in position to watch the famous drone show that's put on here at Disneyland Paris for the 30th celebration.
Chers amis,
Oh my god, I think it's starting.
For 30 years, Disneyland Paris has welcomed dreamers of all ages from all around the world. Together, let's make the future brighter than ever.
Right guys, we just got done watching the 2 shows, ending our day here at Disneyland Paris. What a day! It was awesome! The first show that we watched was the drone show for the 30th anniversary. It's called Disney Delight, and it was really, really awesome. The technology that they've come up with these days is incredible. And the next show was like a light show on the castle with some fireworks. Pretty standard, but pretty magical still. I liked the story. It involved Peter Pan and his shadow. I thought it was really clever. It's getting pretty dark, so I'm going to end the video here. But make sure you stick around for our next video because we're spending the whole day at Walt Disney Studios, and we would love for you to join us. Bye!